My friends and I are making a show for the internet called Good Time Glory. I'd like to share with you what we've learned along the way, so you can make your own show. This week, preparing to film. Equipment. Equipment. Do you get it? Because equipment's another name for a dick. One of the first things you're going to want for equipment is very basic. A tripod. The camera's on a tripod right now. If you have a camera, even if it's your mom's camera, you probably have a tripod. If you don't, they're not too expensive. You can get one, at Walmart for like 20 bucks. I think that's where this one came from, actually. But there's better ones, and if you have the money, you might want to consider it. They have them to where they have levels on them, to where you can get exactly the shot you want, and you can even recreate the shots at later dates going by those levels. Also, it depends on how far up they'll extend. Things to take into consideration if you gotta buy a tripod. More than likely you don't have to, but just in case, think about your shots. Think about the shots you're gonna want to do in the future, and think if those things are worth the extra money. Now, the main reason you want a tripod is you don't want all your shots to be just your buddy holding the camera and it looks really shaky and bad. Inevitably, you're going to want some kind of dynamic shot where the camera follows a person. So it comes to, what do you do then? Do you just kind of bite the bullet and make it shaky? Do you hold the tripod? Well, something else you can do. This is the $15 Steadicam. Now, I know what you might be saying, Ryan, that is not a Steadicam. That is a pipe. And you'd be right, but it is also a Steadicam. If you go to steadicam.org, there are a series of instructions by a delightful young man who's, invented this thing. And the instructions are free, and I think you can even order them from there, but you just gotta stop at your local hardware store for a second. And it says $15, but I think it actually ended costing us $17, and I even had the weight, so it's a little bit more expensive than it says, but still, it works good. The logic behind it, the way it works is you hold the camera like this. Camera screws on right here, you hold it here. Now this weight down here is constantly pulling down, so it restricts your shaking. A tip from our actual filming is that it's not an end-all solution. You can still get some decent shake in there. So if you make this and you're filming dynamic shots, you still, if it's you or whoever's your cameraman, still has to put a focus on keeping it straight. And that may sound retarded, but if you don't and you just kind of go with it, it's not going to be shaky, but it's going to move around unnecessarily. And that happened in a shot or two, but still, if you're going to have shots moving around, I think this is definitely a must. It makes it a lot better. And I think where this thing really shines is if someone's running and you want a camera to follow them. Just kind of slow out and about. You don't notice how much shaking it reduces that much. But if you're filming somebody and running after them while they're running, it's amazing what $15 can do. The next big thing equipment-wise you're going to want to take into consideration is audio. Now, for the show that we're making, Good Time Glory, it's a scripted out comedy show. So in my mind, the best thing would be lapel mics. Go to a pack, and they're wireless, and they go to a receiver. For a decent pair of those, pretty pricey, kinda out of my range for somewhat no-budget production. I bought the really crappy ones that you can always get cheap on eBay. I would not recommend them. I'll put a picture up right here and put the name up because it escapes me right now. I shot a few things just messing around with my buddy Matt, and the audio was terrible. Now, it had so much noise in it. Now, through post-production, I was able to filter out most of that noise, but with what you're left with, you can hear it better than you can hear on, the microphone on the camera, but the sound is distorted and unnatural from all the filters you have to go through. So the cheap ones I don't recommend. The good ones are a bit too pricey. I think for a good, like a decent pair, like $200, something like that. So the solution that I found is this. It is Audio-Technica. I forget the model number. I'll put it up right now. It's a condenser shotgun microphone. Now, you may think, like, what, you gotta hold this in front of you the entire time? No, it's got a couple settings on here to where if you put it on tele mode, and if you can see, to keep with the motif of these vlogs, the telly has a little cock on there. So if you put it on cock mode, you can aim it at a person's mouth from a ways away, and it will pick up the audio fairly decently. So what this means is, probably got to have, when you're filming, somebody holding this to pick up the audio. Now, these work fairly decently. The audio levels are a little low. You can boost them up to adequate levels in post. This time filming, we got a little bit of noise. Not quite sure why. Didn't the first time I used this, just to tell you. But it wasn't too much. Just a little bit that can easily be taken out. So I'm not too worried about it. I would still recommend something like this. I got this on eBay for $70, I think, all in all. And that included shipping. It's only got this cord right here, so I had to buy an extension cord, and it's like 10 feet long, I think, and I bought it at Radio Shack. I should have looked on eBay, so I ended up spending $10, but $80 all in all to have far superior sound. I think I could have done a lot worse. The camera that I'm using is a very basic consumer camera. It's a hard drive camera, which makes it nice for putting stuff on the computer for editing, but very consumer because it doesn't have XLR audio, which is audio input for professional microphones. It doesn't even have mini jack, which is these little ones. So what we have to do is we have to have a laptop there while we're filming, plug this into the laptop and record on the laptop while we're recording on the camera. And then in editing, you just match those up, and usually to make matching easier, I kind of forget this a lot, but we need to do it more because it'll help me a lot in editing, is when you're starting a scene, remember how they, in movies, they do that clapper thing? It's the same basic principle, but all you do is, and then you take the audio from the laptop, you put it under the audio and video from the camera, and you line up that clap, and then you just link them together, and bam, you can edit.